Hello everyone, today I'll be showing you the priority for the new medal exchange for January 2022. So this medal exchange is insane. I was very surprised to see all the new units when I woke up. So this has insane value. So I want to premise this video by saying this is probably the best medal exchange we've ever had. And I just want to make, just as a disclaimer, I recommend only buying these units if you're missing them at the end of the month, because there is the small possibility that you'll pull them in the middle of the month and then you would have wasted your medals. So here we have the 400 medal characters, the 250 medal characters, and the 150 medal characters. So I'm doing it a bit differently this time, and I'm gonna sort it out in a tier list based on based on their priority in on how you should buy them. So the first unit, we're starting from the 400 medal characters, is Ace vs Akainu. Now I was very surprised when I saw that he was in the medal exchange. He's still a top 5 legend, an amazing unit. So the first character here is Ace vs Akainu. So this character is insane. I'm surprised that he's in the medal shop. He boosts 4 different classes, since there's two characters being versus Ace and versus Akainu. Versus Ace boosts Shooter, Free Spirit, and versus Akainu versus boost Driven and Powerhouse. So 4 different classes. They flat 5x captains, and they give a whole bunch of different effects that I won't go into great detail, but all you need to know is that this unit is definitely worth 400 medals. If you don't have this unit and you have the medals, it is a must-buy unit. So I'm putting this unit into the must-buy category. Moving on to the next unit, which is Zoro Drill. So this is a bit of an interesting one. I think he's more of a niche buy, because if you don't have any amazing dex captains, then I definitely think this is worth it. And the reason I say that is because he is a 5x dex captain. If you take 20,000 damage in the quest, he's still 4.5 times otherwise, and he reduces special bind and gives you a large HP boost. So if you don't have like Legend Kid, a Legend Queen, or Lucci, then this is I'd say a very good buy. But if you do have them, I'd say it's more of a niche buy, because his support effect is still very good. It's still used today. It attaches to all dex characters and gives them a 1.75 times all boost if you do a damage dealing or health cutting special. So there's a lot of characters you can attach to, and it's very easy to activate. So just for support effect, I'd say he's a decent buy. But I'd say he's more of a niche buy, since I don't think 400 medals for that support effect is really worth it. But if you're missing a good dex lead, then he's a very good purchase. So I'd say it's a niche. You can fit into the niche category. Moving on to the next 400 medal character, which is Luffy and Sanji. Now he's a bit of an interesting one. If on his release, I would say he's a must buy, but right now he's fallen off. Mainly due to him being a dual unit. His captain ability, no one's using him as a captain anymore. But his switch effect is, I think, what makes him still a really good sub. So in his switch effect, he reduces bind, despair, and paralysis, those 3 very common debuffs, by 1 turn. And he gives himself a recovery orbs and makes it matching, so you get a bunch of healing every turn. So off the bat, an amazing switch effect. And his special gives you a full build of recovery orbs, which he's gonna make beneficial with his switch effect. I wish he made recovery orbs beneficial in his sailor ability, would make it a bit easier, because if you activate his special and you don't use his switch effect, then they won't be counted as matching. But he also gives a large amount of recovery that can overheal up to 2 times the max HP of the crew, and he gives an attack boost based on if you have full health or not. This kind of sucks, because I mean, it's universal, but most of the time you're only getting 2 times attack boost, because it's hard to be at full health. Especially if you swap them. If you have a bunch of dual units, and if you just swap them, then like your health goes a teeny bit under full health. So a very annoying special condition for that attack boost. So it's an okay special, but his switch effect is still really good. I'd say it's a good buy, but it's definitely not a must buy, because he's not really used anymore today. Moving on to the final 400 medal character, which is Wano Law. So this unit's, in my opinion, if I didn't have him, I would rather get him over Luffy Sanji. Because this unit's really fun. He's super tanky, so I'd say he's a good buy, so let's go over what the unit does. So he's a Psi Free Spirit Slasher unit, and his captain ability gives 4.5 times attack to Free Spirit, Fighter, and Striker units if they have your crew has 100% HP. It's still 4x otherwise, but here's the insane part. I mean, 1,500 recovery every single turn and 25% damage reduction. So if you're running double 1 law, you're getting 3,000 healing every turn, plus auto, that's 4,000 with a ship that gives you 1,000 healing. That's 5,000 healing every single turn, with an addition of this insane damage reduction. So you're just not gonna die. I mean, he doesn't give an HP boost, but he definitely makes up for that with the insane tankiness. I mean, you could also run a really good ship like the Moby Dick, since it gives you 1.4 times HP, so you can still get a lot of health with this insane tankiness. Then on his special effect, he's also super good. It's still used a lot today. So the special effect gives you a lot of matching orbs. It changes empty, block, bomb, recovery, G, and badly matching orbs into matching. He also gives himself a matching orb no matter what even if you have like a normal slot. And if your captain has a primary class, then he gives you a 2.25 times orb boost that's universal for 2 turns. A really good orb boost. 2.25 times is still pretty decent. And if your captain has a secondary class as well, then they get chain boundary. So chain boundary is what makes this unit really good. So that's why he's used in Kizuna a lot. I mean, he gives full border matching orbs, he gives you a pretty decent orb boost, and he gives you chain boundary, which is a pretty uncommon buff. So a lot of characters have a primary and secondary class, but there are a few units that only have like secondary classes, like Asus versus Akainu, who's driven powerhouse. But most units are able to fully get the buff from the special. So a really good unit. He's super fun. His support effect isn't used much, but this unit's overall a very good buy. I would way get him over Luffy Sanji any day of the week. Moving on to the 250 middle category, which is where it gets pretty interesting, because this category has insane value. So Shanks crew, version 1 Kaido, version 1 Vivi Rebecca, and version 2 Mihawk. So first of all, Shanks crew, must buy unit. This is insane for 250 medals. The value here is amazing. So looking at it, at this unit, he is a quick psi dual unit, and his switch effect is what makes this unit super good as a sub. So he gives 3 matching orbs. He changes adjacent orbs into matching, and he gives you a universal 1.5 times attack boost. So you're getting 3 matching orbs guaranteed and a 1.5 times attack boost every single turn guaranteed. So that's insane. That's what makes this unit one of the best subs in the game. And his special is also really good. Now the health cuts whatever, but the insane part here is he gives a 3.5 times chain lock for 3 turns. So you can like activate it on stage 4 and then carry it over to stage 5. And even if the enemy removes beneficial effects, it won't get rid of this, because the chain lock is counted as a debuff in this game. So that's awesome, and he obviously combines for 3 turns as all dual legends do. So I mean, his captain abilities actually not too bad, because he has an interesting effect in his dual form, where if you hit all perfects, if you hit a certain amount of perfects, then you get end of turn damage. And if you're running double Shanks crew, that's actually quite a bit. It's like it's similar to V1 Kaido, and then you also get a 4.5 times attack boost, 2 matching orbs guaranteed, 2 orbs are counted as beneficial, and he boosts HP by 1.2 and reduces special bind passively. So his captain ability is actually still usable, but in more easier content, since his singular captains are pretty weak. So I'd say he's definitely a must buy for 250 medals if you do not have him. Moving on to Kaido. So Kaido's a good buy in my opinion. So depending, he's more of a niche buy, but like if you don't have Kaido and Lead Performers Legend, then he is definitely a good buy. But if you have them, then he's just don't, because he's pretty useless if you already have Kaido and Lead Performers. But if you don't have them, he's a really good buy, since he has that insane damage every single turn. He's useless in all content that has normal text only, but if they don't have normal text only, then this guy is just gonna blast right through it, because he deals insane amounts of damage 3 times. Because if you're running double Kaido, he does the damage twice for each captain ability, and then his special also activates at the start of the quest, which also adds more damage. So every turn you're getting 3 of those insane damage hits. So this unit's really good, but like the inner turn damage is all he has going for him, because he doesn't give any utility or matching orbs in his special. I mean, he does have 2 -2 CD in his captain ability, but other than that, it's just whatever. So he's a good buy, definitely not a must buy, but like a very good value for your 250 medals. Then moving on to another must buy unit, in my opinion, Vivi Rebecca. So this unit evaded me for a long time, but they are super good. They are the only unit that does what they do in the game. So they are strength, dex, cerebral, free spirit character in both forms. And then their captain ability is nothing important, you're never using them for their captain effect. But their switch effect and special is what makes this unit super unique and super good. So their switch effect, first of all, gives a few matching orbs to strike and cerebral characters once in a while, but that's not what the switch effect is amazing for. So they get 2000 healing at the end of the turn with a switch effect, and they give a 2.5 times chain lock. So that's insane, because 2.5 times chain lock means your second hit is going to have the same chain that usually only your 6th hit would have in a chain if you hit all perfects. So you're getting 2000 HP healing and that insane damage boost for every single turn. So if you're running this character under say 1 law, then you can get an additional 2000 healing. So you could get like 7,000 healing every single turn if you're running this unit under 1 law. And there are striker unit in both forms, free spirit or striker, which is both boosted by 1 law. So this unit's amazing in their switch effect, and then their special is what makes them even more unique. Where are they now? Okay. Okay, sorry about that. So their switch effect is, the switch effect is amazing, but their special is what makes them even better. So they reduce blue shield and rainbow shield completely. So even if your enemy has like 99 turns of both of those defensive effects, she can just blast it away. It's completely gone. So there's no other units that do this in the game. The only other unit that I know that reduces defense up, which is the blue shield by completely, is TreCru Pickums, but like no one does reduces both of them completely. She also gives some color affinity to 2 classes. It's not too relevant, but I guess it helps sometimes, but it's not really too relevant. It's mainly that reduction of those defensive effects which makes this unit amazing. She goes to 12 turns as well with a limit break expansion, which is a pretty low cooldown for what she does. So definitely a must buy if you don't have her. Literally most content that she's used for, she's irreplaceable. Moving on to the final 250 medal character, which is version 2 Mihawk. So right off the bat, he's a just down unit. He's a chain captain, which these kind of units are never used. He does give a 2-turn orb boost, and he locks orbs, but you need to have you need to have half of your crew being in dex or int units, which isn't too hard, I guess, but like he's just not amazing. I mean, his specials, it's semi decent. His captain's trash though, so just don't get him. Moving on to the 150 medal characters, we have Dex Sabo. So if you're talking about pre-super evolution, he's a just don't unit, or would be a niche buy unit. But since he got his super evolution, he is a must buy unit for 150 medals. This is insane value. So let's take a look at what he does. So he's a Dex fighter shooter unit, and he gives you 5 times attack to fighters, shooter, and free spirit characters if for 5 consecutive turns you've killed an enemy, at least one enemy for 5 turns. Then you get a 5 times attack boost. Even if you haven't killed any enemies yet in the quest, you still get a 4 times attack boost. So say you like in a piece of content that has like 5 turns, by the time you get to the 4th turn against a mini boss, you're still gonna have like 4.6 times attack, which is really good for a unit that's this old. And he still gives 1.3 times HP, which is nothing to scoff at. He also boosted chances of getting matching orbs, which is also pretty decent. So a very solid captain ability for such an old unit. He definitely probably got the best super evolution of, in my opinion, ever in this game, because he was pretty unusable before. Move on to special effect, which goes to 14 turns, 12 turns with the Olympic expansion, but I would not recommend doing that. He gives burn to the enemy that deals 100 times the enemy's attack and damage to them for 2 turns. So that you get a lot of damage to the enemy with burn. And then he gives a 1 times chain boost to the multiplier for 2 turns. So that's pretty good. You get a lot of damage, and then he gives a fighter, shooter, and free spirit 2.25 times all boost for 2 turns. That's similar to Wano Law's all boost, but instead it's attack boost. So an amazing special, gives you a lot of damage, chain boost, pretty good attack boost, and burn as well. So for his cooldown, it's actually not really bad at all. His support effects just damage reduction and stats, which is terrible. But for 150 medals, it is definitely a must buy. Moving on to the second 150 medal character, we are talking about Kizaru. So Kizaru is an interesting one because if we're talking in normal play, he is a just don't unit. But in terms of Rumble, he's a must buy unit for 150 medals. Since day one of Pirate Rumble, he has been a threat, and he's still a threat nowadays. He's aged really well in a Pirate Rumble. He's still an amazing unit, probably one of the best units. If you're doing a Pirate Rumble tier list, he'd probably be tier 0. But in normal play, he's trash, so I'd say he's a good buy, more like it. He's not a must buy unit. In normal plays, just don't. But if you're talking Rumble as well, then he's a good buy. Moving on to the second and last character in this video, we are talking about Shirahoshi. Now, off the bat, I'd say she's somewhere in between just don't and niche buy, because she does give a full heal and rainbow orbs guaranteed in a special ability. Let's see what she does. So she gives so she's on a 1610 cool, like, nah, that's super high. She changes all orbs into rainbow and then gives a full heal. And she reduces those healing negating effects by 15 turns. So you're basically getting a guaranteed heal. But the fact that she doesn't give any utility or buffs makes this unit, like, because you don't want to have a unit on your team that just solely has the purpose of giving healing, because then that's basically a waste of a spot in your team. So she's never used. The last time I've seen someone use her, it was when Kizuna first came out. But she was decent in Rumble at first, but she's not used anymore really. So I say she's a just down unit. But if you don't have her, go ahead. Moving on to the final unit in this video is Bartolomeo. So I'd call him a niche buy, because in normal play he's trash, but if you look at his support effect, he gives 3 turns of paralysis reduction if you're inflicted with it, and he attaches to Robin and Cavendish. So Cavendish is kind of there's not a lot of good Cavendish units, but attaching to Robin is super good, and 3 turns of paralysis is nothing to scoff at. So I'd say it's a niche buy just for his support effect. It would be a just down unit if you're not talking about the support effect, but that just for that support effect I'd pay 150 medals, to be honest. But it's not really required, so I'll just say a niche buy. Anyways, I hope you found this video helpful and you can make an informed decision on whether or not, which units you want to get and which ones you shouldn't. But as I said before, just wait until the end of the month to make sure that you don't pull any of the units during the month, and so that you don't waste your medals. Anyways, I'll see you in the next video, and that's it. Bye.